Hi, my name's Elizabeth, and this is a tour of our homeschool classroom. We are a family of 11. We have 9 children. The youngest is preschool age, and the oldest is a senior in high school. This classroom is set up for 7 kids. The oldest 2 are in high school and they attend virtually, so they're not in here during the day. We are also a military family, so you see the white walls and gray floor. This is base housing, and we chose for this move not to paint or anything because it's a lot of work to set it all back when we move. So I'm just going to do a quick overview of everything and then go into more detail. Over here we have the teacher's desk. If you look over there, that is just a small chalkboard that's set up for the younger kids to play with because they can't really get to the big chalkboard, and I don't necessarily want them coloring on it because the chalk dust tends to go everywhere. This is the teacher's table here. This is my table, and I have access to a lot of books and some of our curriculum back there. We haven't really used this classroom yet the way it's set up currently, and I'm not sure we're going to be keeping those books there or if things will have to get moved around. Over here, so this is a room off of our kitchen. It's technically a keeping room. It's sort of a sitting room that you could put a table in, and it has a fireplace, which is what makes it a keeping room. But we haven't really used it as that. And we haven't set up as the classroom. I think it's working pretty well. Over here, we've got a lot of supply storage and our easel, which holds some of the art supplies. This bookshelf back here, I originally wasn't going to have this bookshelf in here, but it worked out well. We were able to hold a lot of our curriculum books that don't fit or would have to sit horizontally in the other shelves. And then we have our globes and our big whiteboards, like our map whiteboard and our solar system model. This window does open. There's a window behind those curtains, but it's very, very bright with it open. We have 5 of these desks. These are community playthings desks, and these 3 you see right now, they have folding chairs. We ordered the matching wooden chairs, but they're back ordered right now, so we're waiting on those. This little round table here, we've had this for, let's see, when we started homeschooling in 2009, we bought this, and it's still in really good shape, so we just went with desks from the same company. The shelves are, both of the bookshelves and that tote bin unit are all from that same company. So I'm just gonna start over here, change everything a little bit, sorry. We'll start at the top. These are my holders for some of our drawing stuff. This is way bigger than I expected it to be, but it's working pretty well. The kids like having, all the colors available. Sorry about my messy kitchen in the background. These are Stockmar crayons, and they're both the stick crayons and the block crayons. This is not a full set. I think this is 24 and a full set is 30 maybe, but I think that's enough variety for little kids. These are big wood colored pencils from Stablo, I'm not sure how to say it. These, you can actually draw on windows with these, and you can draw on the whiteboard with them, or you can use them on paper. The kids like these a lot. I think that's our 2nd or 3rd set of them. And these are colored pencils. This is just a really big set, I think of 100 Crayola colored pencils. Back here, we have some place value and like math fraction things. These fold down if you need to put them in a drawer. So I'm going to move this chair so I can sit down and keep going here. We have felt. This is just a little counting frame. This has counting bears in it. Sorry, it's not going to open for me with one hand. Back there, those are wooden geometric shapes, just a math manipulative. These are some phonics and reading block sticks. These actually help a whole lot more than I thought they were going to. And then more math stuff. Those are some counting bears that are in different sizes and colors. And then these are the baby bear ones where they're all the same size, but they're just different colors. And then over here, these are for math. I'm just kind of using them for storage. We have our little bottles of glue. I really like getting little bottles of glue because if one of the younger kids gets into them, our youngest is 3 years old and she has Down syndrome. So if she gets into something, it tends to be a big mess. And 1 ounce of glue being spilled as opposed to 4 ounces of glue makes a big difference. Back there we have some pipe cleaners, glue sticks. I buy the big glue sticks because they last a whole lot longer. I think they're 4 or 5 times the amount of glue in the small ones. The only time we get the small ones is if we need them for a particular project, or if I get them on a really good sale, like during the back to school sales where you get them for like a quarter. This container back here has some art supplies. I'm trying to think of what they're called. I've always called them stumps, but I think they have a different term. It's sort of like rolled up paper that you use to blend when you're using drawing pencils. These are twistable crayons. These are the crayons that we use most all the time because if they drop, they don't get broken. Plus, my younger kids don't just sort of break them for fun. These are the twistable colored pencils. I just had these on hand, so I put them out. With all of those colored pencils up there, I normally wouldn't put those out. This is another set of geometric shapes. This has some of like the oddball, rectangular prism and pyramid prism type shapes that the wooden set doesn't. I ordered the wooden set because I couldn't find these, and then we kept unpacking and I found them. This set is actually 2 sets of manipulative money put together. We were stationed in Canada for a while. We're a U.S. military family, but we were stationed there, so we do have a set of Canadian stuff somewhere, just not sure where it is. This one is all of our magnet stuff, which we use more for science, like for physics lessons, than for math. There's another 3-place, one of those flip charts for place value. These are a set of fine motor skill things for our youngest daughter, and then we have a second set in there so that one of the other kids can play with them with her. She does her physical therapy with those. So I'm going to put my glue back and go down to the next shelf. Way over here we have some clay and some paint markers. They're like bottles of bottles of paint with a marker top. This is another one of the physical therapy type things for our daughter. It's just lacing beads. Put that off to the side. See if I can open one of these. So these are all of our fraction items. They're just sort of interlocking cubes, and they're all different. Where is it? They have different fractions on them. These are circle ones, again with the fractions printed on there. This is another set of the cubes. They're like Unifix type cubes, if you're familiar with those. And then yet another set. We just moved, and there were a lot of things I couldn't find, and I ordered and then realized that we still had them, and I probably didn't need them. Sorry. These are the same thing, the Unifix style cubes, but these are for, like English and grammar reading type manipulatives. The kids really like these. I'm not sure how much they learn from them, but it's something, and they enjoy it. Back in there, there's a big foam thing that has a number line on it. It's like a dual number line. These are even more of those, but this is sort of the more basic words, and this also has some like endings like ing or ed that you can add to the other words. Even more of them. This goes down to letters. This is more of a preschool or kindergarten level set. I think some of the ones from the other bin have gotten mixed in with this. Over here we have chalk. This is the chalk that the kids are allowed to have. I get the cheap Crayola chalk for the small chalkboard, and then I get the nicer Prang chalk for the big chalkboard. A bunch of popsicle sticks back there. That's like a little card reader for reading readiness. And then there's a chess clock way back in the corner. I'll put these back. And the last two, those are some markers. I think those are Crayola Super Tips. And then these are just some drawing pens. They're like a felt tip pen. Coming down here, we have a spirograph set, origami paper, and then some tissue paper squares for crafts. This set, these are all the things that go with our microscope for making slides. This is a bunch of art stuff. So back here, this is a panda drum. This is just manila paper. I think this is 12 by 18, and this is 9 by 12. We have some colored pencils here. There's a couple of Prismacolor sets. We do have larger sets, but the older kids are the only ones that have access to them. These are Super Furby pencils, and we have the small Furby pencils, and I think those are ideal for like preschool and kindergarten. And then the Super Furbies are nice for older kids. And the nice thing about these is if they drop on the floor or whatever, they don't break. A lot of times with the thinner colored pencils, especially the waxy ones like the Prismacolor, if they fall, they wind up breaking inside the wooden case, and you can't sharpen them anymore. They'll just break off when you try and sharpen them. So this is, if I can get it open, these are some drawing pencils. We haven't gotten into these yet. We just set up this classroom within the past week, and we haven't really used a lot of this yet. These are some Lyra pencils. These are the Rembrandt ones. I think these are an oil pencil, but I'm not exactly sure. So sorry about that. That drum is really loud if you bump it. So moving over here, this is a rock tumbler. We haven't used it yet. I hope that it's going to be a lot of fun to use, but it turns out it's going to take about 2 weeks. So I'm going to try and get into our geology unit before I worry about trying to do the rock tumbling. I want to take the kids out to find some rocks that they can, that they can put in there themselves, rather than just use the ones that it came with. This thing is a math shark, and we just opened it about a week ago, and I'm really impressed with this. It was more than I wanted to spend on a little game, but the kids have a lot of fun with it, and it's helping them learn their math facts. We'll set that aside, and there's a whole bunch of Play-Doh back there. I buy Play-Doh by the case. I think it comes in 36 containers of that size. And I only put out about 8 at a time because that would just be a big mess. These are all the little, the little things to play with the Play-Doh with. And then you see the yellow pieces in there. Those are also used for modeling clay. And these are just a whole bunch of boxes of modeling clay. I think half of them are the primary colors and half of them are the natural colors. I got a good deal on those. They were only about $1 a piece. Sorry about that. So we bought a whole bunch of them. Let's put the math thing back and come down here. This is, I think, about half a ream of cardstock. It's not the heaviest cardstock, but it's, it's okay. And then just lots and lots of construction paper. These are some cards that are used with the counting bears, and there's all different kinds of activities that kids can do with, with sorting them and counting them. These are even more, these are the pattern cards for them. This is the second set of pattern cards we've had for the counting bears. We had one for our older kids, and they used it so much that they wore them out. They are laminated, but not really heavily. Here's another fraction set. These are just like the thin tiles. I'm not sure we'll use that all that much. These are a set of cards for the tangram pieces, like the pattern blocks. We have a Rocks and Minerals game, Equate, and Equate is like Scrabble but for math. And then that's a set of handwriting without tears manipulatives. This bin has some more colored pencils, some watercolor crayons, paper chalk, and a whole bunch of pastels. This is some of our art paper. I think that it's good to spend on good art paper rather than good supplies. You can kind of scrimp on some of your other supplies if you have really good art paper. Like we use just regular Prang watercolors, but we get really good paper, and the color will spread out on that. These are some laminating sheets. These are the pattern blocks that go with those cards over there, and then the rest of this is wool and the supplies needed for felting wool, which is a nice little handcraft and something that will keep the kids entertained. So coming over here, so if you look at my house, this is the kitchen. That goes down to the rest of the house. That's the pantry. There's a bathroom there that goes out to the garage, and that's the laundry room. So we can get snacks, use the bathroom, keep the laundry going and everything without leaving this part of the house. This is where they keep the chalk and a little rag to erase this chalkboard. This was supposed to be the chair for the teacher's desk, but I find it really uncomfortable, so I'm not using it right now. I am using this saddle chair and still kind of on the hunt for a different chair that'll be more comfortable. We got this computer just within the past few days. We haven't really had a chance to use it much yet, but I like it so far. We have Macs for everything else, so we wanted to stick with that. I did want the kids to get to where they could use a desktop computer because they've only ever used laptops. This is a little drawer under here. The table didn't come with this, but it just sticks to the bottom and gives me kind of a spot where the kids aren't getting into my, my little star stickers and pencils and chalk holders and stuff. So we'll come around here. I gotta step back. This chalkboard was kind of a big splurge. It was over $500 for just this chalkboard. It's from a company called Billy Board, I think. Sorry about that. And it's a porcelain chalkboard. It is magnetic, and it's just a really, really smooth writing surface. And when you write with the chalk, it's almost like a buttery texture, and I'm really happy with it. I'm not I wasn't given this, or I'm not sponsored by them or anything. These are some file folders, and I have things in here like copies of some of our literature guides where I have more than one child doing the same books at the same time. These were supposed to mount on the wall, but they're actually really heavy with the paper and the file folders and everything in it, so I'm not sure that's gonna happen. These are just some baskets. I have some paper and some preschool books down in there. Sorry, they're not in the best shape. This is our set of recorders. We haven't used these yet. We have 10 of them. They're just kind of basic recorders. I actually took the recorder, like performance recorder, in college, and it's the only instrument that I'm really good at besides the piano, but we can't fit a piano in the house, so we'll have the recorder. This printer, I moved this from another spot in the house. We already have this, and this is one of the Eco Tank printers. So you just open this up and you buy bottles of ink. They're relatively inexpensive, like compared to the cartridges. Sorry about that. Compared to the cartridges, and We can refill this. It lasts us over a year, even with doing a lot of printing, and we spend maybe $30 or $40 a year on ink with tons of printing. I'm gonna back up. There's not really a whole lot to see with the books. These are a lot of, you know, just a lot of reading books. I brought in some of the things, you know, books like Little Women, The Indian in the Cupboard, Swiss Family Robinson, things like that, where if the kids just want to pick up a book and read, it's something that I think has some educational value. We have all of our Latin books over there. We have a series of, you know, like what your fourth grader, what your fifth grader, sixth grader, we have the whole series of that down at the bottom. This is writing paper. It goes with different writing curriculums that the different kids are using. And our art books, these are for like fine art study. And down there we have all of our science books. This is both elementary and middle school science. And then this is our big stack of Memoria Press literature guides. So coming over here, we have our flag and our timer. This is a fun timer because the kids can see it from way back. You see they can tell how long it is, and it's not super loud when it chimes. This whiteboard, so the plan right now is that we'll use this whiteboard to put up things that we want to have visible for several days or a week or even longer than that, rather than use the chalkboard for that. The chalkboard will be for day to day. This is also kind of hard for me to reach way up towards the top. I'm not that tall. It has a magnetic eraser, which is kind of nice. These are all of our paintbrushes, and I put the scissors in there just so the little kids couldn't get into them. This is the cup of smaller pencils and pens, and remember when we had the Furby colored pencils? These are the Furby writing pencils for little kids. They also make the colored pencils for little kids, but this is the graphite version. I think, in my opinion, this is the best pencil for kids learning how to write. It's not so heavy the way a longer pencil is. We just have a basic calendar and a clock up there. So this is a tidbit. It was like a Kickstarter thing from last year, and it just arrived. We're still kind of playing with it. You can set it up with a whole bunch of different things, like personal messages, the weather, the date. This is the phase of the moon, and it just cycles through. It has fish facts of all things. There was one to select for fish facts, and the kids wanted that. And it also has some news headlines. Lots and lots of Post-it notes, which I'm sure will last maybe a month or two. So this thing is all of like our little oddball things, like paper clips. It looks like a card catalog to me. I'm not sure what it's intended for, but that's what I'm using it for. And pencil cap erasers, little things of Fimo clay, tape, thumbtacks, and this is where I keep the good chalk. The kids are not allowed to take this chalk without permission. They can use the other chalk. And I think that's everything. Oh, big erasers. We still have four of them left to go, and cups of pens, cups of pencils. Down here is a snap circuit set. I think that's the 750 set. And over here is a microscope and a wall map, like a laminated right-on wall map. This is the National Geographic microscope, like that has the big screen, so that even younger kids can use it. This has all sorts of little smaller supplies in it in these bins. I kind of wish we had gotten a larger unit of these tote bins, because it's been very convenient. This is all kind of the miscellaneous stuff, the junk drawer. These are math manipulatives. We have the little you know, the clocks, the Judy clocks, some color wands, protractors, small rulers, calculators. Our big rulers don't fit anywhere else, so they're right there. These are some more art supplies. We have markers, like the dot markers, some felt tip pens, and gel markers. Sorry, coming down here, we've got, these are just spares of things that are elsewhere in the room. You know, just pens and pencils. I'm hoping this will stay reasonably tidy, but we'll see how it is. I'll try and do another video in a few months with how the room is going and what's working and what's not. We have a 3-hole punch, some regular crayons. These are chalk markers, some googly eyes, little craft things. These are the Lyra, the short Furbies. Or actually, I think these are regular and the other ones are the giant version. So these are what my younger kids use. And then we have some large crayons and jumbo crayons. Oh, and then the stock this is wax. This is modeling wax. I have the kids hold it in their hands to warm it up while I tell a story or read something, and then it gives them something to kind of fidget with. This is a base 10 set, and I don't know what these are. These are just some kind of, you know, interlocking cube, and then these, sorry. This is a set of Unifix math cubes. They're like the literature ones that are over on the other shelf, but they're just for math. This is the spare copy paper for the printer. These are some more art supplies. I think we have watercolor pencils in here. I'm going to take this out before it falls on the floor. These, I think, are tubes of watercolor. I set up so many things in the past few days that I'm forgetting where some of it is. Yeah, some watercolor. These are watercolor. I think, in my opinion, the Prang watercolors are the best ones. They're better than the Crayola ones, and they only cost $1 or $2 more. But the nice thing is about these, the pans, you can either get the oval or the rectangular half pans. This is the half pan size. And each individual pan can come out and be replaced. So you can get a pack of 12. I think it's maybe around $6 or $7 for a pack of 12 from art supply stores. And you can just replace the ones that are worn out. Because I know for my kids, you know, they go through the green, the blue, and the yellow really fast, but the other colors not so, you know, not so quickly. And that's just a more economical way of getting paint. We have the metallic and the glitter versions of that too. These are paint sticks. We haven't used these yet. Some more watercolor tubes. I think there's watercolor pencils. Yeah, watercolor colored pencils. Put this back. And the last one, a bunch of index cards and some of those really big lined Post-it notes. Well, I'm down here. We'll come over by the easel. So down here, we have another set of tempera paint that are more like art quality that I keep over in a cabinet in another part of the house. But this is what we're going to try and use first. And then we have some powdered tempera paint as well. These are the no spill cups. These are what the younger kids use. The easel came with some, but this is what we normally use. I don't think I can open this. Oh, yeah, I can. So it's just a no spill cup. Their brush goes in it. The downside of this is that you kind of need a brush for each color or they wind up just all getting to be a big mess. And then we have some round palettes and some oblong palettes as well. These are just the cups that came with the easel. We haven't really used those. This easel, this is a wooden easel that we bought. We've used it for a couple weeks now and it's pretty good. We have the paper rolls. These paper rolls we've used for years and years. One paper roll lasts us several months, even with a lot of kids using it, and they're usually around $15 for a 3-pack. And the other side is chalkboard. This chalkboard honestly is not that great. It's okay, but I'm not thrilled with it. Coming over here, we have a solar system model. It's very fragile. I'm not crazy about it, but it works to demonstrate the point, so it's all right. We have a map whiteboard and a clock whiteboard. I really like the map whiteboards. We also have some tablets. They're down here that have maps on them, and these are helpful too, but they're kind of expensive and you go through them really quickly when you have a lot of kids. So we have 2 globes. People see this and are like, well, why do you have 2 globes? So this one is political, and this one is like the terrain, and it shows you, where it's more arid, where there's mountains, and both of them, I think it's very important, both of them have full relief where you can feel the mountains. Coming down here, oh, and both of the globes can spin so you can see Antarctica. I like doing that. So coming down here, these are a bunch of Memoria Press flashcards. We have like Latin and geography flashcards. A whole bunch of, we haven't used these yet. These are just index card holders. For the kids, we have an atlas, and then we have, these are really good. I feel like, oh, my laminator's back there too. I feel like I'm gonna knock something down by doing this. These are the page protectors, and they're the write-on page protectors. You can put a piece of paper in there and write on it with either dry erase or wet erase markers and reuse the worksheet or the map or whatever it is over and over again. Those are really helpful, and they're only a couple dollars each. They do wear out. You get like 1 school year out of them. We keep all of our travel guides in here just for the kids to look at, or if they want to learn more about a place. Then we have some sets of books. These are some good ones. These big notebooks. We have, I think, a science one too. They're good for middle school level. It's the kind of book where your kids can just sit down with the book and learn something. Let's see, we have some history textbooks. I do use regular textbooks for some things. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Some people, who homeschool really don't like doing that. But for me, it gives me kind of an overview of what I want to talk about and discuss and lecture about. It just kind of jogs your memory, even though I studied history in college and I majored in it, actually, it's good to have a child-friendly version of what'll work. Down here we have reference books, encyclopedia, an American history encyclopedia, dictionaries. I think it's important to have different level dictionaries for your kids. Let's see, just some more curriculum books that we're either not using right now or are planning to use soon. This is big watercolor paper, and this is where I'm planning to put the kids' work as they finish it. It's just, a file box, and we'll have a couple folders for each of them. And then at the end of the year, we'll select some of the best work for each of them so we can continue, so we can keep a record of it without keeping absolutely everything. So these are what the desks look like. These are for the 3 older kids, 2 younger kids, and then the preschool and kindergarten age kids. Each of the desks, I'm sorry about the folding chairs. Again, the good chairs are coming. They have enough space in there for them to keep all of their workbooks as well as a pencil box with some of their supplies. And we did get the ones with the adjustable legs. If you look over at the teacher's table, That one does not have adjustable legs. The wood legs actually look a little nicer than the adjustable legs, but of course you're roped into that one size. Some of the kids have more stuff in theirs, and they're already getting a little messy somehow after only a couple days, but that's the whole classroom. We'll just do kind of one more pan of everything, and I'd like to thank you for watching and let me know if you have any questions.